Look at your life for a moment. Not the dream, not the vision, the real picture, the habits you repeat, the effort you give, the promises you break to yourself. Because your future is not built on what you plan to do, it is built on what you do every single day. See, people wait for motivation. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the right mood, the right time, the right situation. But winners don't wait. They decide. And once they decide, they show up whether they feel like it or not. That is where consistency is born. And consistency is the quiet force that turns ordinary people into unstoppable ones. You don't become unbreakable by talking about it. You become unbreakable when you train your mind to stand up on the days it wants to collapse. When you push your body forward on the days your thoughts beg you to stop. When you keep moving in silence while the world has no idea what you're building. The strongest version of you is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek approval. It doesn't post every move. It works in the dark. It grows in the pressure. It sharpens itself through pain, failure, rejection, and long, lonely mornings when quitting would be easier. But you don't, because deep down, you understand something most people never will. Your excuses feel good now, but your discipline will feel unstoppable later. Every rep you don't skip, every promise you keep, every time you choose effort over comfort, every time you rise when your mind says stay down, you are forging something inside you that no setback can destroy. This is not about being perfect. This is about being relentless. This is about forcing yourself to become consistent until consistency becomes who you are. And once that happens, nothing in this world can break you. Most people believe motivation is the engine of success, but that belief is the very thing holding them back. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are unstable. They rise and fall with sleep, weather, praise, failure, mood, and circumstance. If your progress depends on how you feel, then your future is fragile. Consistency, on the other hand, is built on decision. A decision is not an emotion, it is a commitment. When you decide to act, you remove debate from your mind. You stop negotiating with yourself every morning. You stop asking if you're ready, inspired, confident, or in the mood. You simply show up because that is the rule you have chosen to live by. This is what separates those who dream from those who build. Builders do not wait for inspiration. They create momentum through action, and momentum becomes their motivation. Every powerful transformation begins the moment you stop trusting feelings and start honoring decisions. When you wake up early, even though your body wants to stay in bed. When you train on days your mind is heavy. When you work on your goals in silence while no one is clapping for you. You're practicing the most important skill on earth, self-command. That is the ability to tell yourself what must be done and then do it. The world does not reward intention. It rewards execution, and execution is born from consistency, not excitement. Excitement fades, but consistency compounds. It stacks invisible progress every day until one day the results become impossible to ignore. Consistency is not about heroic effort. It is about repeated discipline. Small actions done daily will always overpower massive actions done occasionally. You do not become strong from one intense workout. You become strong from thousands of ordinary ones that you refuse to skip. You do not become confident from one victory. You become confident from showing yourself again and again that you keep your word. Each time you honor your decision, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. That shift is where real power is born. The most dangerous trap is believing you will start when life gets easier. Life never gets easier. You get stronger through consistency. The storms do not disappear, but your ability to stand inside them grows. Every day, you choose discipline over comfort. You are training your mind to obey your future instead of your present emotions. And when your mind obeys your vision, your life has no choice but to follow. Most people chase recognition, applause, and validation because it feels like proof that their effort matters. But the strongest transformation never begins in front of an audience. It begins in silence. Real power is built when no one is watching, when there is no praise to feed your ego and no spotlight to keep you accountable. In that quiet space, you discover whether your commitment is real or just performance. When you train your mind, your body, and your habits without announcing your goals, you strip away distraction and comparison. You are no longer competing for attention. You are competing with your old self. That is where growth becomes pure and unbreakable. Silence forces honesty. Without outside approval, there is nothing to hide behind. You either do the work or you don't. You either show up for your future or you betray it. Every early morning, every disciplined choice, every sacrifice made in private becomes a brick in the foundation of your strength. No one claps when you wake up to improve your life. No one congratulates you for resisting comfort, for choosing effort, for staying focused while others drift. But that is exactly why it works. The work done in silence rewires your identity. You stop needing permission. You stop needing validation. You become your own standard. When you move quietly, you gain clarity. There is no pressure to perform, no fear of failing publicly, no anxiety about opinions. You are free to make mistakes, adjust, learn, and rise stronger. This freedom creates courage. Courage creates momentum. Momentum creates unstoppable confidence. People often think confidence is loud, but real confidence is calm. It doesn't boast. It doesn't explain. It doesn't seek approval. It simply walks forward, knowing the work has been done long before the results appear. There is also protection in silence. Not everyone wants to see you grow. Not everyone understands your vision. By working quietly, you protect your focus from doubt, negativity, and distraction. You protect your dreams while they are still fragile. Over time, that protection turns into power. The discipline you build in private strengthens your mind against pressure, failure, and temptation. When challenges arrive, you do not panic because you have trained for this moment in the dark. You have already proven to yourself that you can endure discomfort, uncertainty, and struggle without breaking. And then one day, without announcement, without warning, without explanation, the results appear. People see your strength, your confidence, your stability, and they call it luck, but you know the truth. It was forged in silence when no one was watching, and no one was clapping, and no one believed but you. Talent is impressive, but it is unreliable. Luck is exciting, but it is temporary. Excuses are comfortable, but they are deadly. The only force that survives when everything else collapses is discipline. Discipline is the ability to do what must be done even when you do not want to do it. It is the quiet engine behind every lasting achievement, every powerful transformation, every life that rises above circumstances. When talent runs out of energy and motivation loses its fire, discipline remains steady and unstoppable. Many people are born with gifts, but very few learn how to command themselves. Talent can open a door, but only discipline keeps you in the room. Without discipline, potential stays potential forever. The world is filled with people who could have been great, who had all the tools, the ideas, the chances, but lacked the daily structure to turn possibility into reality. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about respect. It is the respect you show your future by refusing to waste a day. Every time you choose discipline, you choose growth. You wake up earlier. You work longer. You train harder. You stay focused when it would be easier to drift. You finish what you start even when the excitement is gone. These choices seem small in the moment, but over time they shape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. That shift changes everything. When you trust yourself to follow through, your confidence becomes unshakable because it is built on proof, not hope. Excuses will always try to negotiate with you. They sound reasonable. They feel justified. They promise comfort. But comfort never built a powerful life. Every excuse you accept weakens your standards, and every time you break your word to yourself, your self-belief erodes. Discipline, on the other hand, restores your power. Each disciplined action strengthens your mind. Each completed task reinforces your identity. Over time, discipline becomes automatic. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once required effort becomes who you are. Discipline also outlives luck. You may catch a break once or twice, but discipline ensures you are ready when opportunity appears. Luck without discipline leads to wasted chances. Discipline without luck creates its own opportunities. The disciplined person becomes dangerous because they are prepared for every season, strong in every storm, and stable when others collapse. They do not panic when things go wrong because they have trained for difficulty. They do not crumble under pressure because they have built endurance. In the end, discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become, and crossing that bridge every day is what separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Most people spend their lives running from struggle, believing that peace and success live somewhere on the other side of comfort. But the truth is the opposite. Strength is not found in avoiding hardship. It is forged by walking directly through it. Becoming unbreakable requires a new relationship with pain, failure, rejection, and uncertainty. These experiences are not obstacles on the path. They are the path. Every challenge you face is shaping you, sharpening you, and teaching you how much you can endure. When you stop resisting struggle and start accepting it as necessary, something powerful shifts inside you. Struggle strips away illusions. It exposes weaknesses, fears, habits, and excuses you did not know you were carrying. At first, this feels overwhelming. You question yourself. You doubt your ability. You wonder if it is worth it. But in that uncomfortable space, you discover something deeper than confidence. You discover resilience. Resilience is the understanding that you can fall, bleed, fail, and still rise. Once you learn that lesson, nothing in this world can truly defeat you. Avoiding struggle creates fragility. A life built on comfort collapses the moment pressure appears. But a life built through hardship develops roots. Every difficult moment becomes a training ground for your mind. You learn patience when progress is slow. You learn courage when fear is loud. You learn persistence when quitting feels reasonable. Over time, the same situations that once broke you begin to strengthen you. The weight that once crushed you becomes the resistance that builds your power. Unbreakable people are not born fearless. They simply refuse to let fear decide their future. They move forward with shaking hands and uncertain steps. They continue when motivation fades and hope feels distant. They do not wait for perfect conditions because they understand growth happens in imperfect ones. The storm is not something to escape. It is something to survive. And each time you survive, you gain evidence that you are stronger than your circumstances. Struggle also teaches humility and gratitude. It reminds you that progress is earned, not given. It keeps you grounded when success arrives because you remember the road that brought you there. You stop expecting easy victories and start respecting the process. You stop seeking shortcuts and start building endurance. This mindset is what creates stability when life becomes unpredictable. The path to becoming unbreakable is not smooth, fast, or comfortable. It is slow, heavy, uncertain, and demanding. But it is in that demand that you are forged. When you stop asking for the road to be easier and start asking to be stronger, you take control of your growth. And once you realize that struggle is not the enemy, but the teacher, your life begins to rise in ways you never thought possible. The life you want will never come from the version of you that seeks comfort, avoids responsibility, and waits for permission. It only arrives when you decide to become someone who refuses to quit. Every dream, every goal, every vision you hold in your heart demands a stronger version of you than the one you are today. That is not a punishment. It is an invitation to rise, to grow, to step beyond your limits and into your potential. But that transformation does not happen by accident. It happens when you commit to showing up for yourself, even when no one else does. Most people want change, but they do not want the discomfort that change requires. They imagine success as a reward, not as a responsibility. The truth is that your future will test you before it ever blesses you. You will be asked to work when you are tired, to believe when you are uncertain, to continue when you are discouraged. These moments are not meant to stop you. They're meant to shape you. Each time you choose persistence over quitting, you strengthen the version of yourself that can handle the life you are asking for. Refusing to quit is not about being fearless or perfect. It is about being faithful to your purpose. Some days you will move forward with confidence. Other days you will move forward with doubt, fear, and frustration. Both count. Progress is not measured by how you feel, but by whether you keep going. Every step you take in the right direction builds momentum. Every time you rise after falling, your resilience deepens. Over time, that resilience becomes your identity. The version of you that refuses to quit begins to see obstacles differently. Problems become lessons. Failure becomes feedback. Delays become preparation. You stop asking why life is difficult and start asking how you can grow through it. This mindset changes everything. You no longer view challenges as threats, but as opportunities to prove your strength. When you commit to becoming that version of yourself, your environment must adjust. Your habits improve. Your discipline sharpens. Your confidence grows. Your standards rise. You begin attracting opportunities that once felt unreachable because your character now matches your ambition. Refusing to quit also transforms your self-belief. You stop needing validation because you have evidence. Evidence that you can endure pain. Evidence that you can overcome setbacks. Evidence that you are capable of more than you once believed. This belief is unbreakable because it is built on experience, not hope. When life tests you again, you do not panic. You remember who you have become. The life you want is waiting for the version of you that refuses to quit. So choose that version today and keep choosing it every day. And if this message connected with you and pushed you forward, then please like, comment, and subscribe.